Oh. Hey guys, Drackle here. I promised we'd look at my new passive mob spawning system, and that is what we shall do. Some of it, well, a lot of it's based off of Etho's new passive mob spawning system. Of course, with some of my own ideas, as well as some ideas from his old mob systems. So let's get up to the top here to see the spawning pads. They're at the very top. They're like 25 blocks above me, so there's no mob exclusion zone issues. Okay, and we have the pads there. They're approximately 6 by 6. Some are larger, some are smaller, and you can see the mobs just walk right off the edge into this big water basin, and they get pushed by the water currents into this collector, I guess you'll call it, just like that. Bah, bah. And I had the sound turned off because this would get really annoying, obviously. Okay, so the hard part was making all the water currents end perfectly right here, because you can't really use signs if you're going to use a too wide opening like this. It's basically a 2 by 3, because the water would just flow over the signs, and so the mobs would just keep jumping up and down, up and down, up and down. They wouldn't really fall in that well. So that was just a minor engineering detail. I had to make the stream 7 wide at the end here. Okay, so that's how that works. Really nothing special to it. It's quite efficient, much more efficient than having, a canal between each pad. So I think I'm going to go with this system from now on. And since I only needed, I think I have between 300 and 400 blocks of spawning space for these guys, I only needed about that much. If I needed more, I would have to stack pads on top of each other, and then it'd be a little bit more difficult because I'd have to use a different method, which I'll show you with the spider spawning system that I've been working on. Hopefully we'll have time this episode for it. If not, it'll be next episode. Alright, so let's go down to the sorting mechanisms. And the idea was to sort pigs from chickens from sheep and cows. So the first method we have here, you can see the sheep and cows go straight into the drowning trap, like that, where they die. And you've seen that before. If you haven't checked out my compact drowning trap tutorial in the tutorials playlist, I suggest you do, because it's pretty cool, and that's what I used. And the pigs get separated here. It's very difficult to see. But here we have the wall over there, and the sheep and cows get pushed. Oh my god, they're coming out. They're escaping! They're escaping! Okay, so the sheep and cows are getting pushed directly into the drowning trap, but the pigs are getting separated here. And the way I did that is I have a water current pushing them against this wall, this left wall. And on the left side I have a 1 block tall gap right there. The pigs can fit under the gap, but the sheep and cows cannot, so the pigs actually get pushed through that gap while the sheep and cows continue on. And that's how I separated the pigs from the other animals. And as you can see, that pig goes this way and the rest of the mobs go that way. And now the pigs, let's see if I can get in here, my little maintenance access door. The pigs get pushed down this corridor here, and they fall through. There's a gap there, a 2 block gap, and they fall through lava. What's the best way to get down there? I think maybe over here. Yeah. So they fall through that gap there, and they go through this lava, and that sets them on fire, and then they either die from fall damage right down there, or they burn to death. And that allows them to drop cooked pork chops instead of the raw pork chops, which is quite cool. And also, a lot of the chickens get separated this way, because the chickens are less than 1 block tall as well. So the chickens generally come, and there's a pig. You can see he burns to death. There's another pig, and another pig. The chickens also come down this way, and most of them at least, and they usually float down to the lava and die. Now, one note, I wish I had done the chicken separator first, because the chickens are now going in both directions, and I have a cactus in the drowning trap to take care of the chickens there and the lava there, but some of them are still escaping, and I'm not quite sure how. And the only way to really solve this would be to redesign this whole level to add a chicken separator. I really don't want to do that, so yeah, I'm not going to do that. But in future reference, any other systems I will do will separate chickens first. Okay, so not only do we have those two separators, we have a third system here, which is a activatable junction. I press this lever, and it closes. You can see the pistons right there. Whoops. As you can see, it closes off that part that leads to the drowning trap. And now I gotta build myself back out here. And when I press this lever, it opens this junction for them, so they can't go that way anymore, so they are forced to come this way. And they go down through here, and they get dropped into the barn. At least what I'm calling the barn. Now, the barn is like a holding area for the sheep and cows. As you can see, they're falling through here. And this is just, oh, no, I do not want you to escape. I forgot to plug this up. The barn is a holding area for the sheep and cows, and that lets me come in here and use my dyes on them and shear them. The sheep get different colored wool, and generally just mess around with them. I could do funny things with them. I could kill them in funny, different ways. One of my projects right now is trying to put them in mine carts and send them around. I thought it'd be really funny to have a pig zipping, or a sheep zipping around my house in a mine cart. But that's proving more problematic. I've been trying the one-way minecart gates with soul sand, but the mobs are actually pushing each other out if I remove this. See, I can't move through this soul sand because it's a one-way gate, but the mobs will stack up behind each other and they'll push each other through the gate. So I haven't come up with a good way to stop them from getting out, but also at the same time letting a minecart in to take them away. So I'm still going to work on that. And up here you can see there's a water break with that, where that sign is, and that is to prevent them from dying when they fall down here, but it also damages them enough, so generally speaking it's a 1 or 2 hit kill. So I could clear this place really easily of sheep and cow. And so that's the idea. And that water break also will separate chickens that fall down here, and they'll sit in that water and they'll drop eggs straight down here. So it's a dual purpose. Pretty cool. This was definitely one of the highlights of the system, and I'm glad I put it in because it makes it much easier to get colored wool. And they stack up at the door because they want to get out. So I have to keep this shut. And here we have the actual loot collector. The sheep and the cows, you can see they're going into the barn right now. And you can see the chickens are stuck in that water break and they'll lay eggs. But when I have it set so they come this way, they fall into this drowning trap and die, and their loot drops here into this stream. And also, I used to have pork chops. I used to have the pigs falling in over there and dying, and then having their pork chops get washed this way into the main stream. But I found that they weren't dying efficiently. A lot of them would fall down and not die, basically, because there was water underneath them. So I decided to add that separate system of pork chops. You can see that's a lot of bacon right there. But basically the sheep and the cows, they die, their loot falls down here, and the reason I used a drowning trap instead of a lava blade was because the lava blade was burning up quite a bit of the loot. So I had to invent this new drowning trap. If you haven't seen my tutorial on it, go to the tutorials playlist. It's the compact drowning trap. This is only, I think, 6 or 7 blocks high. And the tutorial I make one that's only 5 blocks high. It's very efficient. Anyway, so the loot gets washed through this main collection channel, and it flows down over here. And here I have my control panel for the loot. I used to have a pork chop on and off switch. Now I just have the pork chops fall over there. So we basically have one switch here, and this switch controls these pistons. And this that drop right there goes into my main loot collector that washes into my house, that also connects with the hostile mob loot collector. So if I want farm animal loot, I just press this lever and it all falls into my loot collector. And it'll come out down here in the house. The same place where the hostile loot comes out. So very efficient. I like the whole setup. It's very convenient. There's a couple of things I could have done better, but mostly it was just separating the chickens. That was my only big mistake. And as you can see, some of the chickens escape and they end up in my house sometimes. That's okay, because they actually end up at this fountain and I can collect eggs from the fountain. So hey, can't complain too much, right? So that's my new passive system in a nutshell. I know that was kind of a quick overview, but I don't know, if you guys want more detail on this whole system, maybe I'll be happy to do some tutorials, or maybe some shorts to show you each little part of it. But it's not all that difficult to create. It's really just time consuming. The junctions were the hardest part. Using sticky pistons, I would just close off one section or the other, and I had to make sure I did it correctly with the correct amount of water in each stream so they would flow properly. But yeah, it's really not that not that difficult of a system to make. It just takes a lot of time. So now that I've gone over that system, I think we're going to take a look at my new spider spawning system, which I've recently completed. So yeah, let's go take a look at that. As you can see, this place fills up rather quickly. Wow. Okay, let's go take a look at the spiders. Alright, a couple of important points about this spider system. Number one, there's a way to only spawn spiders, obviously, or else this whole system would be useless. And the way you do that is you have one block here, say this is your spawning pad that they spawn on. Generally speaking, mobs need a too high ceiling above the pad to spawn, obviously, because a zombie couldn't fit, or a creeper or a skeleton couldn't fit in one tall space. And generally speaking, spiders will not spawn either if you have it like this. But spiders, for some reason, I think due to some glitch, will spawn if you have a translucent block above the platform. So even though this is a one high space, if you use glass, spiders will spawn. And that's how the system works. I think it was either Roboticaust or Doc M that figured that out. But yeah. Anyway, so a couple other points. I decided to use a drowning trap instead of a lava blade this time, because spiders tend to try and climb the lava blade when they fall into it and burns up a lot of the string. So I had to use a drowning trap. Excuse me, I'm hungry. Trying to think of anything else. Oh, yeah, I know Etho just did a spider spawning system video like a day or two ago, but no, I didn't steal the idea and copy it. This is a completely unique design on my part, and I started working on this probably a month or two ago. And if you don't believe me, go look back at my old episodes. I think episode 8 or 9 has my prototype spider spawning room. Alright, so this is the spider spawning system. It's really not polished at all. As you can see, the outside looks like crap, but it is functional. So let's go open it up and take a look inside. Okay, this is going to be hard to see, I know, because it's going to be dark. But I'll edit the video and put some gamma in or something. Alright, so basically, as you can see, we have a large water basin, and above that basin we have these spawning pads, and the spawning pad is surrounded by signs. And what one of my friends told me recently is if you have signs on the edge of blocks, mobs will walk right off because it tricks them into thinking it's a solid block, and it's completely true. That does happen, and that let me make the system a lot easier than I thought I was going to have to make it. And as you can see, the pads are only 1 tall. We have a glass above them, and only spiders can spawn on those pads. Nothing else is going to spawn except spiders. That's the whole purpose, or the whole way this system works. And the spiders will walk right off the edge of this system. They'll fall into these canals, and these walls have overhangs here. So when they fall into the canals, if they try to climb the walls, they can't. They're going to bump their head up here against this overhang, and eventually they'll get washed down into this area. And here we have a canal, also with overhangs again, and this main canal takes them down into the trap itself. And this is basically a widened version of my compact drowning trap. It's not very compact anymore, is it? But yeah, it's just basically that same drowning trap with the source water at the bottom, and the spiders will fall in, drown, and die. And then we have our loot collector, and I put a single block of water in the corner to wash all the loot out over here. So yeah, in a nutshell, that's the spider spawning system. It was difficult to make and very difficult to do all the modifications because I had to widen the walls after I built it and add all sorts of stuff so those spiders wouldn't climb the walls. That was a real pain in the ass, but that's generally how it works. Maybe I'll do a tutorial on this as well. I'm not sure, but it's very similar to my mob tower. The only difference is we have the spawning pads with signs around them instead of the canals on each level. And this will allow me to stack multiple pads on top of each other. So it makes it much easier, because if I didn't have these signs here for them to fall off, then I have to do 3 canals for each level. Like one here, one in the middle, and then one on the end. And then I'd have to make the canals 4 wide so they have overhangs so the spiders couldn't crawl out. And I need to have it pretty deep as well, so that'd be a pain in the ass. That's why I decided to do it this way. So this is working. It works fairly efficiently. The practical issue, goddammit, with a spider spawning system is, well, spiders are one of 4 mobs that can spawn at any time. So obviously, you're gonna get less spawns. So you need quite a bit of surface area to have spiders spawning at a regular rate, so to speak. Yeah, that's really the main problem with it. The system works pretty well. It's just that it doesn't get many spawns because we're only trying to get one type of mob. And when the game cycles through the spawn loop trying to place mobs, it's trying to place like all types of mobs, and then it can't because only spiders can spawn in here. So you have to wait for it to cycle again and again and again until it decides to spawn a spider. So that's the problem with this whole system. But hey, it works. In the future, I might transition. I might try to find a way to allow my high efficiency tower to be adaptable for spiders sometime in the future, but that's going to make it bigger and less efficient, unfortunately. But I might do that. But we'll see. Yeah, so this is the spider spawning system. That's pretty much all I wanted to show you this episode, these 2 mob systems. I hope you enjoyed it. I know that was a pretty quick run through of both of these systems, but if you want anything more in depth, let me know. Maybe I'll post some extra videos on each of them. But I really wanted to get these 2 out of the way because I have a couple of extra episodes coming up that are going to be cool. They're going to be a little different, but I'm getting tired of working on mob systems all the time. So we're gonna do something different in the next few episodes. So yeah, this is Drackle signing off. If you haven't seen the Drowning Trap tutorial or the Flaming Arrow Cannon tutorial, check them out. They're in my tutorials playlist. And I'll see you guys next time.